If it was anyone else but Rolando Caceres, Gold 1 Hour Photo would have closed its doors 10 years ago.
I was worried all the time, you know. I couldn't sleep sometimes. Sometimes I even cry without no reason. I just, you know, I was depressed really. Yeah.
Caceres had poured more than 15 years of his life into the lab, but it was 2010. Shoppers were still reeling from the Great Recession, and film photography was an expensive niche hobby at best.
Customers, yeah, they didn't show up really. Yeah, it was really slow. And before we were like 5 people working. Then we went down to just me and another guy. Yeah, and I was planning to tell him just you know, fire him because no more, nothing to do actually. Yeah.
It wasn't until 2014, 20 years after opening, that customers began returning to Gold 1 Hour Photo. Why? Well, from imaginary nostalgia to simplicity of use, the new, younger generation of Gold Photo customers may have the answer.
I think that digital makes the past look too perfect sometimes, and I think that analog photography and film photography emphasizes the imperfection and also like the oldness of your past memories and stuff. So like with the grain and stuff, it seems like it did happen in the past. It like is an old memory.
Honestly, like I'm kind of sick of taking photos on my phone camera. I had my like DSLR at the time, and it was like I was kind of getting like frustrated with the process because I was just taking so many photos and I just wanted to like slow down a little bit.
No matter what people's reasons are for returning to film, companies are trying to make the most out of the trend. The Harman Technology Company, makers of Ilford black and white film, reported a 5% increase in sales in 2017. Fujifilm cashed in big with its popular Instax instant camera, and Kodak decided to bring back its Ektachrome 100 film last year. Lomography, a vintage camera and film store, came out with an instant camera as well.
So we could see that all of a sudden we weren't only targeting our community and people who were familiar with this, but instant photography went into every household.
Film photography wasn't so widespread when Caceres first worked at a film lab in Honduras as a way to support his family. After hearing about Los Angeles from his brothers, who had already started living there, Caceres decided to follow them and join the hundreds of thousands of immigrants to Los Angeles in the 80s. Caceres quickly settled in and found work at a photo lab. It was the golden years for film photography, and labs were on every corner. Like anyone chasing their American dream, Caceres made the leap and opened Gold 1 Hour Photo in 1994. But that wasn't even the climax of his year. His only son, Andreas, was born a few months earlier.
We start pretty good actually. We start getting payments for everything, bills, and even for our own, you know. So we didn't start bad like other business. It takes like 6 months, you know, to pay the rent.
Unfortunately, pretty good didn't last forever. After about 5 years of business, film began its slow decline. In 2003, digital cameras outsold film cameras, and 10 years after Gold Photo opened, Kodak announced they would no longer sell film cameras.
Most people lost their jobs because they were old dogs, you know, they couldn't handle the computer.
Jorge Cruz works at Gold 1 Hour Photo and quickly made the switch to digital when it came out.
They gave you a few months to catch up, and if not, then next, because, you know, there were kids coming out of college with it already. It was like, oh, okay.
Caceres went from developing around 100 rolls a day to maybe 10 on a good day. He sold all but one of his machines and had to let his staff go. The lab he had poured his savings into was on life support. His personal life didn't fare any better either. He put his house on the market. He and Andreas' mother split up, and he struggled explaining the many moves to his son.
When we sold the house, that was really painful for him, yeah, because his friend, you know, he had a lot of friends around, and that's what he remembered. I mean, this place as a home, really. But we didn't have no choice. We had to do it.
Small producers, like Lomography, were hit hardest.
And I'm not gonna lie, it's not always been easy for the company. And it is, yeah, there was a time when digital was taking over and when people genuinely thought that's gonna be the end for analog photography. I think our board members, which are our founders of the company, just never really gave up on the belief that film photography will have its value.
It was that same persevering attitude, and possibly some stubbornness, that kept Caceres going back to work every day for that decade-long slump. As the world outside his windows changed, he took passport photos, printed digital pictures, and developed the occasional roll of film for the few holdouts left. As film's revival sped up, Caceres was able to buy back all the machines he sold and even hire more employees. Little did he know that this would have a much larger impact.
I went through a life-changing experience that I just didn't care, and I just stopped. I lost my muse, I lost everything, and I just stopped. And I was homeless for quite a while, living out of my car with 3 dogs, 2 cats, so it was tough, and I didn't really care.
For years, Cruz worked for wire services like Getty and Reuters and traveled all over the world.
I lost a friend, and it just went downhill from there. I lost, the sense of purpose.
Cruz was depressed, deep in drugs and alcohol, and in a rut, unable to get out. Luckily, a friend reached out with a job offer from Gold Photo. Even though Cruz didn't show up to his first interview, Caceres gave him another chance, and 2 years ago, Cruz was hired.
That's why I work here, because it's photography related. It keeps me close to where I like. I talk to people about their work, and to me that's interesting. To me that's fun. This is one of those jobs that you do because you like, not because of the money, because there's no money. But that's something that fulfills the gap that I have right now in my life.
For Caceres and Cruz, photography gave them everything, then took it all away. Caceres won't let the COVID-19 pandemic do the same. After taking film orders through his mail slot and using Instagram to get the word out, Gold Photo has opened back up. Those 10 rough years are still on Caceres' mind, and he feels like he's living on borrowed time. So for now, he's content to simply wonder.
Sometimes I think about it and I say, how did we get here, Wow. From the situation I was to this now, I'm actually even better now than I used to be before. Yeah, sometimes I ask my son, because we are buying a house just now. Right now, we are buying a house. And I say to him, how did we get here?
He treats every day like his last because he knows this could all go away as quick as the click of a camera.